All right, guys, let's move it on to our round the league recap. Let's start out with Geely.
What was that, brother?
I don't know. My brain had a moment of I
I
don't
thought
know.
like lizard tongue was going to come out from it.
I thought I might have been having a stroke there for a second. All right, guys, welcome back to the Ordinary Fantasy Pod. I'm your host, Ben Conroy. With me, as always, Nathan Boudreau and my brother, Matt Conroy. Guys, welcome into week 6. I can't believe we're already here, man. This season goes by so fast. And it's just every year. It just drives me crazy. Major injuries, guys, that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. There were some really big ones that happened this week. We're also going to get into our around the league recap, high and low score of the week, and a little fun game at the end, the lightning round that we've been doing. So stick around for that. But before we get started, guys, how was your weekend? How was your football weekend?
Lovely.
Mine was great. I won in every single league except for our high stakes league. So it was almost a clean sweep, but it was a lot of fun. Had Sean come over for the Niner game on Sunday night, and my daughter has made friends with a neighbor kid, and we found out his dad is her dad is a Cowboys fan, so we invited his ass over too. We got to point and laugh at him the entire game. It was great.
Does he now listen to the podcast also?
He does not. I'm not sure that he's aware that there is a podcast, but
all right. So here's the question: is he a good loser or a bad loser?
He was a very gracious loser.
Okay. All right. I like those kind of guys.
Yeah. He became a Cowboys fan in the early 90s, and he basically feels like he's like a Browns fan at this point. They haven't won shit for 30 years, and and every time they did something bad, it was always like, of course.
Okay.
How about them Cowboys, huh?
How about them Cowboys? No, dude, I had a great weekend. Really fun. The injuries sucked, but man, great football. There's this team that I follow that did pretty good this weekend, so that was fun.
Yeah. That was a great game.
Just good football all around. I'm really enjoying this season.
Let's move it on to our news and notes, guys. Start out with our dynasty trades that happened, guys. First off, we had Megan trading Kyle Pitts to Dre for Cole Kmet and Calvin Ridley, which I don't hate that trade. I like that trade a lot for Dre. For Dre. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was interesting because I was driving at the time that this went down, and by the time I had a chance to stop and look at it, there was already like 40 text messages, and the people that were being vocal about it, they seemed to think that Dre got the worst of it. Which
really,
I didn't agree with that at all. I mean, I get it, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. Well, then also, if you guys don't get it, let me explain it.
Okay.
What the hell has Kyle Pitts done? The coach now, Arthur Smith, has brought in Jonnu Smith, who he's played with before or coached before. He's running routes. He is scoring. Kyle Pitts had his best game this season, but Jonnu Smith has had like 3 weeks in a row, double-digit points. Arthur Smith is getting him into the whole program. Kyle Pitts does not have a locked-in role. I mean, he has a locked-in role, not a true number one not a true number one role. And to give up what he gave up, I think it's in Megan's favor, 100%.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question though. Is Dre going to contend for a championship this year? I mean, I know he has a good record. We're just
talking about this trade, these pieces involved.
This is a dynasty league, right?
I know. Yeah.
So that you have to think about the future when you're doing dynasty trades. You can't look at it as a redraft trade. If this was a redraft league, I agree with you 100%. What the hell has Kyle Pitts ever done? And why the hell would you ever trade for him in a redraft league? 1,000,000% I agree with you. This is a dynasty league. Kyle Pitts is 23 years old. And yeah, Arthur Smith brought in Jonnu Smith, and they're not using Kyle Pitts. But guess what? The Falcons suck. And at the end of the year, it's a very high likelihood that Arthur Smith's going to be gone. It's a very high likelihood that Jonnu Smith doesn't get re-signed. I would take Kyle Pitts and the potential that he brings at 23 years old for the next 10, 15 years over Ridley, Kmet. I mean, what has Ridley ever done?
Okay, to be honest with you? Ridley is also a freak athlete. Not the high end freak athlete, but he is a stud. He is fast. He's so good in and out of his routes. I think he's the best player in the trade easily. Kmet, they signed to a long-term contract and they paid him. He's young, and just the Jonnu Smith part that I'm talking about, he's only 28. And we know, because he started on the 49ers, I think. I know he's there early. I don't know if we drafted him. He's a freak athlete too. He's so fast for his size. Arthur Smith loves him. I don't think that Kyle Pitts' value is what it was before that coach brought in that tight end. So I think that's the reason why I think that Megan won it, only because Jonnu Smith, that coach, loves him, and he's going to steal targets.
All right,
He
well,
is.
we'll see how that plays out.
Well-
I still like it for Dre.
Hey,
We had
Ben,
another trade.
Can I put a cherry on this conversation?
Oh yeah,
Just-
please cherry it up.
Just the fact that me and Matt, who have nothing to do with this trade, and neither one of us are being impacted whatsoever, the fact that we so vehemently disagree with each other on this tells you it's a fair trade.
Yeah,
Because if one person believes very strongly on one side and the other person believes very strongly on the other side, it means there's no problem with the trade. It's fair.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move it on.
I'll go with
Adam traded Brees Hall to Nate for Kendre Miller and a first. Matt, what do you think about this trade?
Yeah, Adam listened to the podcast. He offered Nate exactly what he asked for, and he got it done. I think it's a good trade for both of them. I have no problem with it. Kendre Miller could be something, but Brees Hall I know is something. So I really like Brees Hall. I think he's definitely the best player in that trade easily.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Fair
Adam needed to trade the piece, and I think getting a first back for it is definitely worth it. Nate, do you want to touch up on this real quick?
Yeah, I'll just say this. I agree that, that was the smart thing for Adam to do, was to shop Brees Hall. Like we talked about, he's not a contending team. He shouldn't have a superstar running back on his team. First round picks are way more valuable to him. The one thing I would say is that Adam probably should have shopped Brees Hall around a little bit more. I'm undefeated in this league. It's very likely that I'm going to have a very late round first pick. He could have gotten maybe a first pick from somebody that's more in the middle, or somebody that's going to be earlier in the first round. If he would have just shopped around. Now, I don't know how much shopping he did, but I will tell you this. One of the reasons that I make as many trades as I do is because I'm always active. And Adam didn't initiate this trade with me. I actually sent him Kendre Miller in a second for Brees Hall. And it took him 4 or 5 days, but he finally responded, and he sent back Kendre in a first, and bam, I accepted it. And that was my hope, actually, when I sent him Kendre in a second, was that he would respond with some sort of counteroffer. And really, by sending a lot of trades out, it gives me an advantage, because I'm going to have that open dialogue with somebody. Whereas, one of you guys might have been able to get, Brees Hall. I'm not saying you wanted Brees Hall necessarily, but, had you engaged Adam in a trade, maybe you'd be put in a better position to get that. So that would be my advice to the rest of the players out there: is stay involved and stay engaged.
Yeah, I always trip out. So go ahead, Matt.
No, I was going to say, and also, just in this, the leagues that we play in, we talk about all of them. I've mentioned guys who we should trade for and gone out and made that trade. Nate said he's going to trade for guys, goes out and makes that trade. Listen, when we say we're going to do it, or we tell you to do it, do it. Or if Nate says it, no, he's going to go do it. So jump, beat him to it, beat me to it. We're being honest. We're going to make these trades. I said it, about Porsche's team a couple weeks ago, and went out and did it. Guys, do what we're saying, only to block us, if nothing else.
And it is kind of nice to see that. And listen, it's a bit tongue in cheek. Hey, we're going to fix your team for you, to a bunch of guys we play in a league with, right? But it is nice to see that some of the suggestions we've made, guys are out there doing, right. Not only Adam, but a little insider baseball here. But we were suggesting that Jeff should go out and trade Mahomes for a wide receiver. And like a day after that podcast, Porsche received a trade from Jeff where he was trying to give her Mahomes for her top wide receiver. So I was like, hey, the guys are listening to us. Maybe what we're doing is working. Now he ended up rescinding that trade, and then she tried to re-engage with him, and he was like, I changed my mind. But at the very least, we're making some sort of impact.
Yeah. And it's a good point to always think about that, the picks, as far as how the person you're getting the pick from, how they're going to finish in the league this next year. Because immediately I saw first, I'm like, oh, that's exciting, you got a first. But then when you explain it, you're going to have a late pick. It's going to be a late round first. It doesn't seem as attractive. But that's always something to remember. All right, guys, let's move it on to our main league. We had a trade there. Joe traded Christian Watson to Ryan for Cole Kmet, and there's Cole Kmet again, and Calvin Austin the third. Matt, you want to jump in first and talk about that one?
Christian Watson's definitely the best player in the trade. I mean, by far. Calvin Austin, young guy, but I haven't seen anywhere what I've seen from Watson, I don't think. Cole Kmet, yeah, I like the Watson side. I don't like the 2-for-1 trades. I like the guy who gets the best guy in the trade. It's always the guy who gets the one piece because they can go up and pick somebody else up. So they're actually getting the piece they traded for plus whatever they get off the waiver wire. So I always like the one side and definitely getting the best player. So I'm always going to lean that way.
I have two things to say about this trade. Number one, I don't think that there's any coincidence that Cole Kmet was involved in two big trades this week. Cole Kmet is a guy that's been an underachiever, to be fair. He came in with a lot of hope and promise. He hasn't really delivered on that. He plays in an offense that doesn't pass a lot. And he just happens to be on a bit of a hot streak. In the last 2 weeks, he scored 3 touchdowns, which is going to happen even with guys that are non-studs. They're going to have little hot streaks. So the two owners that capitalized on that hot streak and traded him while he was hot, they're doing the right thing. That's exactly what you should be doing, is trying to shop a player that's on a hot streak like that, especially if you don't believe that it's going to continue.
Yeah,
the second thing I'll say about this trade is Christian Watson is the prototypical player that Ryan loves to have on his team. Ryan is like Al Davis. Just give me the fast guy. Just give me the fast guy, right? Ryan loves to have the big bruising running back, and he likes to have the burner at wide receiver. The problem with players like Christian Watson is they are boom or bust. Christian Watson hasn't been in the league long enough to maybe put that label on him yet. But from last year, he had like 3-4 big games. The rest of the weeks, he did nothing. That seems to be his MO. Now, Ryan, I've talked to him enough to know that he's got this idea that he can predict when they boom. And who am I to argue with him? I mean, he did it last year with Devin Duvernay and a couple of other guys. He put them in there, and they had their boom weeks. He seems to have a little bit of a read on it. So, good for Ryan. He went out and got the guy that he wanted. I don't really like anybody in this trade. I think Calvin Austin and maybe even Cole Kmet might be on waivers again by the end of the year.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, let's move it on to our injury news, guys. We have big injury news this week. 4 big names hit the IR this week. Let's see which one of them has the biggest fantasy impact, do you guys think? Let's run through them real quick. Justin Jefferson, we all obviously know, left the game. Hamstring, if I remember correctly. Devon Achane, also same thing.
Achane.
Oh, sorry, Achane.
Respect his name.
Respect the name. James Conner, who's had a resurgence this year and has been playing really well, also went down. And then Anthony Richardson. Richardson is a shoulder injury.
I believe it's a shoulder.
Shoulder, yeah. Which doesn't affect his legs, but it does affect how he throws the ball. And he's been running like crazy. But they're all on the IR. And which one do you guys think has the biggest fantasy impact? And Nate, I'll let you start off this time.
Well, I mean, clearly Justin Jefferson is going to have the biggest impact. Anytime you waste that kind of draft capital on a player that only gets a handful of games under his belt in the season, that's a hard to come back from. And there's some rumors out there that it may be much longer than 4 weeks. And there's a variety of reasons for that. One of the reasons being that he didn't get the contract that he was looking for in the offseason, and that he is going to be a free agent at the end of this year. So clearly Justin Jefferson is going to have the biggest impact.
Rookie.
Happens to all of us.
Yeah. So you know what? So I'll take over while he's taking care of that. So Justin Jefferson, big loss. The people that are going to replace him are going to be KJ Osborne. It is going to be Jordan Addison. To a little bit, both those, but it's going to be TJ Hawkinson. I'm trying to trade for him in every single league. He's going to be the offense is going to run through him. Second, it'll probably be KJ Osborne. Third will be Addison. Addison has specific routes that he's running. He's still not playing a lot of snap count yet. So Hawkinson first.
He will now, though.
He will play in 2 wide receiver sets where he wasn't playing before. If he was ready for the role, he would have played it last week. He's not ready for the role. That's why he hasn't played it yet. He's a great talent. He's going to get a lot more playing time now, just like Quentin Johnston. It's going to be a lot more playing time now after the bye. I just think that KJ Osborne is definitely going to be the guy, wide receiver to own, but Hawkinson's going to be the best guy on the team, I think.
How many targets for Hawkinson quickly?
12.
10, 12? 12?
Yeah, 12 a game.
Yep. For a fucking tight end, you got to love that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. And by the way, you called James Conner old man Conner. He's 28 years old, so that may be old in running back years.
Old
but
in running back years is what I'm saying.
Surgeon, he was great last year too.
yeah, he's been good for a number of years.
Yeah,
James
he
Conner's
has.
always he's
Yeah.
been pretty good. Here's the
Yeah.
biggest heartbreaker is the Devon Achane thing. I mean, this guy was off to a ridiculous start. I mean, putting up video game numbers, and now they haven't really said how long he's going to be out for. There's some whispers that it could be a season-ending injury, and they haven't confirmed that yet. So that would be a heartbreaker because it's a lot of fun watching him. I mentioned it in the thread the other day, but when I watch him run, he reminds me a lot of CJ2K. I mean, he's got that same style. I mean, he's a burner. He flies. He's upright.
He glides. He
Yeah.
glides.
He's got three 70-yard touchdowns or something like that.
He does that one cut. It's
Something
amazing.
silly.
Like he sees the hole, he does a cut, and then phew, and he just runs through it. It's really a lot of fun to watch.
writers, we said it all off season. He's perfect for that thing, and he was on waivers to what, week 2 in our league?
No,
Yeah,
not in this
somebody
league.
dropped him.
No,
Yeah.
not in this league.
You sure?
No, maybe in
Positive?
another league, but yeah,
No,
Okay.
he was on somebody's team. He was a keeper.
I thought he was
or-
out there the first couple weeks, but okay.
No,
All
he's
right,
Justin's
all right, all right.
rookie. I do have a question about him though.
Okay.
You know, this whole change of pronunciation of his name. I was listening to somebody say that it's kind of unusual because every team, not just pros but also college, has a guy that the responsibility is to go around to every player and ask them, how do you pronounce your name? Because they put it in their official guide, and they'll put like a little pronunciation in parentheses, right? So that means that when Devon Achane first joined the Dolphins, he pronounced it as Achane. And when he was in college, he told the people that he was Achane because he went by Achane all through college. So for some reason, after week 2 or 3, he changed it to Achane. I have a question for you guys. This is my theory. I haven't heard this anywhere. Big QAnon fan, you think? He's going with Achane?
That's funny. Okay, I just heard the greatest name story today that I've ever heard. I'll make it real quick. Joe Theismann. You
I've
guys
heard
heard
that one.
this? How he changed his name?
Yep.
You heard this, Ben?
No,
So,
I haven't heard it.
His name is actually pronounced Thiesman,
Mhm.
and it's always been Thiesman.
Oh, I did hear about this. I
But yeah,
remember
in
now.
college, they wanted
Yeah.
to get him the Heisman Trophy,
Heisman.
so they said,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah,
man, change it to Theismann," and he did it. And dude, what? Just a great story. Just
I mean,
I never heard.
He was pretty good in college.
I'd never
yeah.
heard that before. I'm like, that's cool. That's pretty.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson, you guys, we kind of left him out of the mix.
RG4. I mean,
Anthony
listen, he
Richardson-
doesn't know how not to get hurt.
Yeah.
Nobody's taught him that yet. And if he can't figure that out, he's not going to be a quarterback in this league very long. And until he can stop getting injured, I think we need to look at him as somebody who is not going to play football.
And here's the question that I would have, and I know, Matt, I already asked you this, but I think at the time I asked you this, they were saying that Richardson was only going to be out a few weeks. I heard today that they're estimating his timetable to be 4 to 8 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So at the long end of that, at 8 weeks, that puts him not back until the playoffs, fantasy playoffs. Is he somebody you want to hold on to in a redraft league at this point?
No, you drop him because he hurt the least good football part of his body, which was his throwing shoulder. So it's going to take a long time to recover the part of your body that wasn't even good at football anymore. So yeah, drop him. He's done.
But what if he comes back in 4 weeks and then your opponent picks him up and kicks your ass with him?
No.
See, that's the thing.
In
the thing.
small benches, I can't hold him in a small bench.
Okay. What about in our high stakes league with a very deep bench?
Oh, he's on IR. He's on IR, right?
There's no IR spot.
Oh,
Not in that league. Yeah.
No, but main league, yeah.
In our
put him
league,
on
main
IR,
league, you can
yeah.
put him on our.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Anthony Richardson, we'll see what happens with him. I'm just kind of curious. All right. Well, let's move it on to Can We Fix It? This is we got a special segment. One of our degenerates in our main league was impacted with 2 major injuries this week, and he wants to know what we would do to fix it. And so let's watch Justin's video right here.
Hey degenerates, here at G2E, Global Gaming Expo. Saw on the podcast that you were doing this segment where you give people fantasy advice. I have a friend of mine. This year's starting lineup kind of looks like last year's waiver wire, and he could use some help. I thought it would be a pretty cool segment if you guys just pick someone's team in the league, like mine, and you just every week you just said exactly what you would do, like just every move from start to finish. Like I thought that would be a really cool segment that you guys could do. So I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. If you want to try it, that you could give some help to some people out there who might be struggling, whoever that might be. Good luck with the pod this week, guys. Good luck.
All right. Well, Justin, I always love that he does his videos from like some crazy place, and he's always in a suit, and he always looks so nice. But I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? I mean, is there much you can do to fix Justin's team?
I'm going to start out because just like I did in the text when we're talking about this, I don't think there's any good way to fix his team unless he's just going to trade his studs to me for like bad pieces. Besides that, no, I think he's done for this season. But I know Nate has some other ideas.
Well, listen, Justin, you weren't very specific. You just want to know what to do. And you said, tell me what to do every week. Tell me what to do. Here would be my suggestion for you. As we all know, this was the first year that you decided to co-own this team with your oldest boy. And, you even changed your team name to J&J, Justin and Jake. And, I get the feeling that this is meant to be sort of a father-son bonding moment, and you guys are doing on this team together. My suggestion to you, Justin, is maybe find something to bond over that you're actually good at. Poker, for example, or dressing in fancy suits, right? Get your son into something that you're actually good at, and you guys will have a much stronger bond, would be my suggestion.
Justin does wear costumes pretty well on draft weekends. Maybe they can bond over that.
And I have a feeling they might this year.
I'm curious.
Does Jake have to wear one too if they lose? Is it a 2-for-1 this year?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did we lock that in? Is that locked in?
Well, a couple of years ago, Adam and Dre co-owned a team, and they both lost, and we had them both in dresses.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
But I feel a little bit bad because we didn't actually give him any suggestions for his team.
No, I think that's a good segment, guys. Let's wrap.
I don't want to discourage other people from asking for help. So, should we actually look at his team and see if there's anything he can do?
We gotta look real quick.
Honestly, unless he can find somebody to trade for his injured studs, that's his only move. I mean, honestly, that's his only move.
It really is. And by the way, we just talked about how we don't know how long Justin Jefferson's going to be out. We don't know how long Achan's going to be out. Yep. So the smartest move for Justin right now would be to dangle both of those players and see if maybe a contending team, maybe a team like Dre, who's 5-0, who could afford to lose 2 of the next 4 games, right? Maybe Dre would be willing to give Justin a couple of pieces for Justin Jefferson. And Dre's thinking to himself, okay, even if I lose 2 of the next 4, I could be 7-2 after week 9, and I could be getting both of these players back and make a deep playoff run. So if I was Justin, that is what I would do, is I would dangle both of those players. But you got to trade them today. Don't trade them 3 weeks from now or 4 weeks from now when their value is the highest, or when there's good news on them. Trade them today and get what you can get.
His best assets that I'm looking at right now, he basically, if he trades Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews as a package to somebody, maybe he can get back like a Sam Howell with the Curtis Samuel and another piece. Something like that is probably what I'd be looking to do, and then pick up stream tight ends to make up for it.
I'm not taking Lamar. He ain't getting Sam Howell for me either. So
yeah, well,
it's the right kind of look, though. Is what I'm saying. It's the right kind of look.
That brings up a good point. Is the 2 players that he has that are most marketable right now is the Baltimore stack that he has. Yeah, you don't want to do it after a bad week like Lamar just had. You got to do like Adam did and wait till Breece Hall has a good week, and then you trade him, right? So
But Lamar's not going to play good in London this weekend at Tennessee. They stopped the run. He's got to trade them now, right now. No matter what their last week was, you got to trade them now. I think
we've talked about Justin Jefferson. Oh, go ahead, Nate.
No, I was just going to ask you guys while we're on the topic of Justin. I was going to ask you guys for a little bit of advice for me.
Oh, okay.
As you guys know, I have this bet with Justin. It's $50 a week, and then we get to drop the hammer on. Yeah, we get to drop the hammer on each other one time per season. And Justin dropped the hammer on me week 1 because I was without Kupp and without Judy week 1.
Oh,
yeah. And so he dropped the hammer. Now he was a little bit nice. He went easy on me. He made it a 2-time hammer when the rules clearly state you can do a 3-time hammer. He only did a 2-time hammer.
I saw that. I was curious.
Yeah, I appreciated that from him. So I've been planning all along. I've had it written in my notes here that I was going to drop the hammer on him week 13 because that's the week that Justin Jefferson is on bye, and also both of the Baltimore boys were on bye. So I thought week 13, that's the week. But now I'm thinking I have to do it in this 4-week period while he's without Jefferson and Achan. So my question for you is, do I do it this week? Just go ahead and drop the hammer today because he's also without Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Or do I wait till my team gets a little bit more healthy? But I'm also at the risk that while I wait for some players to get healthy, the other shoe may drop with other players.
So you
No,
just have
do
to
it-
you
do
just
it
have to
this week.
outscore him this week.
I
That's
just
how it
have to
works. You just,
outscore him, yeah.
yeah, his team's in trouble, man. I mean, he's playing
Yeah,
Tennessee. He's
and-
got Tennessee. You know, he's got Baltimore against Tennessee. He's got Philly playing Cooks against Philly. Gainwell's against the Jets. He's got some serious bad matchups going on right now. I think this might be the week to drop it, man.
I agree. This is going to be the lowest scoring game that he plays out of the next 4 or 5 weeks. Tennessee slows the clock. Baltimore's fine slowing the clock and running it. This could be a super low scoring game overseas. Next week, Detroit, high scoring game. They'll be throwing it all over the place. Arizona, Seattle also throwing it all over the place. So I'd go this week because Baltimore doesn't need to score a lot of points.
Yeah, I think my only hesitancy was that I wasn't sure if the Sun God was going to be back this week or not. But
I heard he's
may not
coming
need
back.
him. You
the
may
reports
not
out
need
there
him.
are encouraging. So I'm going to go ahead and do it on the
Yeah.
pod right now, Justin. It is a 3X hammer.
3X.
Knocking it on your ass this week. Hey, what comes around goes around. You did it for me when I had a bunch of injuries. Now I'm doing it for you, buddy.
I like it.
There you
I like it. Next.
Before we move out of injuries and stuff like that, and we talked about Justin Jefferson so much, and it affects Justin's team and whatnot. And I've asked you guys this again before, but now it's even more of a question that I find interesting. 1-4 Minnesota loses their best weapon. Does Kirk Cousins look more attractive for the trade block even more now than he did before?
Let me ask a question back to you, Ben. To what teams?
The Jets.
No,
Any team that's
I'm
looking.
No, that's not it. It's Nate's right. It is the Jets or who else? One other team, maybe. I've heard might be a second team.
The
Jets.
Raiders. I mean,
So,
Jimmy
here's the thing.
Garoppolo's having problems.
Here's the thing. Why, unless he can pick up the offense immediately, why would they trade for him right now?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't see him knowing that offense well enough to jump right in and be that much better.
Well, let's see. The Jets, Jets offense. Who's the offensive coordinator? Hackett, right? And Hackett used to be the Packers coordinator.
Mhm.
There are some ties with the Packers coaching staff and the Vikings coaching staff. They come from the same
Yeah.
coaching tree, essentially. I think he'd be able to pick that up. My only question for the team that's trading for him is, if you're going to trade significant capital, which is what the Vikings would want, are you a team that's a quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl? And I think a lot of people believe that the Jets are because of all the weapons they have. Breece Hall looks awesome. Garrett Wilson is awesome. They've got that top 3 defense. I really think that they are a quarterback away. Now, Matt doesn't believe that Kirk Cousins is that quarterback, but we already know that it's not Zach Wilson, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
well, why not go out there and take a big swing? You have the first round pick now that you don't have to give to the Packers anymore. Why not go out there and do it? And it's only a very minimal commitment because he's a free agent at the end of the year, and you get Aaron Rodgers back next year.
Or for the playoffs if you make it.
Did you see they asked Cousins about it in his press conference today?
No,
I
what do you
didn't see
say?
They asked him. Somebody said, "Would you consider trading, or would you consider waiving your no trade clause at this point?" And he got a little testy, and he said, "I'm just trying to focus on this game right now." You know, I don't think he likes the question very much, but
That's not a no.
in the back of his mind, he's got to be thinking, "Listen, the Vikings don't want to pay me. If they do, they would have extended me by now.
Yeah.
I'm a free agent at the end of the year. Why not go to a team that has a chance to win a championship?" In the back of his mind, I'll
they
bet
put
you
their
he was
backup
welcoming it.
Mullins QB on IR today, so they're left with just a rookie, right?
Mhm.
So that may be another reason. But
Well, you send Zach
I
Wilson
don't
up there.
I mean,
yeah.
Indy.
I don't know. No, I don't think you send Zach Wilson because you may need him for a week before Kirk Cousins is ready.
Richardson is gone. You know, Indy's playing Gardner Minshew. You know, I know Indy's not a team that's stacked to go into the Super Bowl, but they're definitely in
No,
need of a
they'll run with
quarterback.
Minshew. They'll run with Minshew.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think Indy's a
think.
quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl either.
Yeah.
I think
No.
they're trying to rebuild for the long term.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was thinking about that today, and I thought I'd pick your guys'
Kirk
brains.
Cousins would look really good and the exact same as Daniel Jones on the Giants. Put him there.
Yeah, maybe.
That's not a bad.
These trades are fun to talk about, but they
Oh, yeah.
rarely ever happen.
No.
Yeah, so,
In-season trades have happened more in the last few years than ever had before. So
That's true.
I'm open. It could happen.
it would be a lot of fun. There's another major trade that I believe is probably going to happen in the very near future. You guys might have heard that Carolina has already put out the word that they're in the market for a wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
And they just traded DJ Moore, so they're obviously not very good at this. But they're in the market now for a wide receiver. And do you know who went and unfollowed all their own teammates on Instagram and followed all the Panthers on Instagram this week?
No, but I'd like to take a guess because I've not heard this at all. But I know that the Broncos are really talking about trading people. So I'm going to go with one of the Broncos receivers, leaning towards Jerry Jeudy.
Yep, you nailed it. Jerry Jeudy.
I've been hoping. I was hoping he's traded all season. He's the guy. They don't love him. They don't love him there. They've said it many times. They're willing to trade him. Dude, that's a lucky guess. That's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, Jerry Jeudy is in the last year of his contract, so it makes sense. Yeah. The question I always have is, how do the players know this far in advance? I guess maybe their agent tells them. They're trying to work out, because he goes and follows all the Panthers. Yeah. Like, there must be something happening, right?
Or it's just his desire. Maybe it's just that. Maybe he has a buddy on the team. He did it all without the agent or anything. Now it's all out there, but maybe it's his way of saying, this is what I want.
Maybe
he's telling the Panthers, come to me.
Maybe him and Bryce Young are buddies. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Bryce is lobbying.
Oh, they're both Alabama.
They're both Alabama.
Yeah. I would absolutely love that, because I would leave Thielen in exactly the same spot he is with those targets. Jeudy downfield, even better. Do it.
Yeah, Thielen, I think it's a good fit, and I think the Alabama connection is something that
steal of the draft.
Bro, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, guys, let's move it on to our Round the League recap. Take it away.
Oh, man. Gilly, that's me out. That was the lowest score, I think, of the entire season for losing. I had an injury or two, but just my team shit the bed. So terrible. Waivers already ran. Cooper Kupp went for 509. I had in a bit of 500 up until like an hour before, and I go, dude, I don't want to spend that kind of money on him. I backed it down to like 350 just to keep people honest. I'm glad he went for that much. Devontae Smith at 218, Nico Collins at 217, Pittman at 176, and then I ended up with a bunch of RB2-3s after that, more than I needed. Nate, who'd you get?
I got Smith. And in fact, I did the same thing you did. I think I had like 718 left, and initially I had 518 of that on Kupp, and I had 418 on Smith, and then 318 on somebody else, right? At the last minute, I changed it, and I changed Kupp down to 418. So I would have got him at 518. I changed him down to 418, but I'm feeling now that I got a real value with Smith at Devontae Smith at 218 when Kupp goes for 509. I needed a wide receiver, so I'm happy with that.
It is a value in this situation, correct? But Devontae Smith has just been a ghost, right?
Not as much as you think, man. I thought the same thing earlier. Pull him up. When do you pull him up? Because I'm going to look up waivers. Okay, so some of the
other guys. We know he had the one big game, right?
Because
he's had three double-digit point games, I think. One at 15, one at 17. I mean, he's not a ghost from what I remember.
I mean, I just comparing him to AJ Brown, who's getting they play on the same team. I mean, you got to think. Right. I mean, if AJ Brown's getting all the targets, I mean, Devontae Smith is just kind of been.
Devontae Smith's always been a boom bust guy, right? So he'll have his big games.
By the weeks, would you like to have a wide receiver that scores 17.7, 27.1, 6.8, 14.8?
Yes.
Is that Devontae?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's I had the same thought.
Sorry, Matt. I guess in my brain I'm seeing all these AJ Brown catches, and I just played against AJ Brown last week, I think it was. So it's like fresh in my brain. So I guess
Devontae Smith doesn't look good when you're watching the game live. It doesn't look like he's getting the targets, but he got him. But yeah, so some of the other guys that went, Ben, we had Aaron Jones, 173. Bobby spent $245 between Joe Burrow and Herbert. So he has 3 quarterbacks. I got Foreman, Ferguson, Charbonnet went. Here's the one thing, Nate. Amari DiMercato only went for 15 in that league. I was super surprised. I really thought that this league, there's enough people spending money that he'd go for way high, like in a lot of the other leagues. And it was really interesting to see that as low as it was.
Well, I'll tell you why. I mean, you have that thought in your mind because Amari DiMercato was the number 1 draft pick or waiver claim in every league you play in, right? He was the only guy on waivers in all those leagues, right? So we all think he's going to go for a lot. But when you're comparing him to all the players that were available, in a
Obviously,
guillotine league.
it's different.
Now he's not quite as
Still lower than I thought. Come on, you didn't think you'd get him at 15, did you?
well. I mean,
You were hopeful.
I actually I put in the bid for him back when it was announced that they thought that he was going to be the starter.
Yeah.
And then it came out this morning that Keontae Ingram is actually the number one guy on the depth chart and that he's number 2. And I actually regretted it a little bit. I went to go change it and it had already locked and I couldn't switch it. I was like, I was going to lower it down from 15 to 1. But I was happy to get it to 15.
Nice.
Keep us rolling.
All right, so side league. Sean is at the top at 4-1. We got 5 teams tied at 3-2. Jeff and Megan at the bottom at 1-4. This is a fun league. I keep seeing guys on waivers that I go, oh, I need that guy. And then I go to my team and I go, oh man, he's not even close to making my team. There's so many people. There's so many waivers, so many people on waivers. It's crazy. I hope everybody's having fun in this league. I'd like to get a little more chatty on the thread. Nate, maybe you and I should do a little more, try and get more people involved because it's been quiet for about a month in that thread. But I hope everybody's having fun in that league. So see what we can do. Moving on to Dynasty, Nate sits alone at the top at 5-0. Congratulations. He put up 209 this week. What is the record in that league? Does anybody know?
I can look it up for you while you keep talking.
Yeah, I'd like to know that also. So the division leaders in that are Nate, Jeff, and Dre. Ben, I know you think you have a great team. I know you have some good pieces. I've talked to you for a few months now about trading some bench guys. I know you got injuries. You still have not made any trades. You still have not taken any action there.
Nope.
Now that you're down at, I think, 3-2, do you think you're going to take any action on trading away your extra pieces?
Not at the moment because this week I get back Eckler. I just got cut back this last week. Herbert's coming back off bye. I project my team to be a winner this week.
Okay.
And so I'm not currently. I know we talked about it, and I still think it's probably a good idea for me to try and do that to make a push for the playoffs to try and take out Nathan eventually. But at the moment, I got KJ Osborne sitting there. I got Michael Wilson still there. I still got pieces, but
okay.
I'm not sure if I'm ready to pull the trigger yet.
Yeah, right. I mean, you just got Kupp and Eckler back. I mean, in some ways, what trade are you going to make that kind of impact to your team? I mean, yeah, let's see what your team looks like with those 2 players, and then in a few weeks, then reevaluate whether you need to make a trade or not. Yeah. Matt, the 209 that I scored this week would not even put me in the top 5 all time.
Oh, damn.
The record
super flex. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, it's super flex. The record is 234, which Bobby has, and then I'm actually I'm 4th. So I'm in there one time. At 219.
Right. Run down the list. I want to know who else is there.
Okay, 234, Bobby. Then we got 223, which was Dre back in 2020. I think that was our first year playing.
Nice.
Then Joe at 223, so he's tied. Me at 219, and then Bobby again at 216. That was last year.
Ben, how many times were you on that list?
I was there 0 times.
I was also there 0 times. Consistency.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Ben, when you asked me to run down the whole list, is that because you thought you were going to hear it?
You did.
I might have. I was curious.
That's why I asked. I know my brother.
I was curious. I thought maybe you would have told me if I was already, but you didn't. So I thought, I'd ask.
I don't pass up a lot of opportunities for salt in the wound when I can.
Yeah, you guys want to know what the lowest score of all time in this league is?
Yeah.
No.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who owns the record in our main league for lowest score of all time?
Me.
Okay.
But that's like 20 years ago, and we had a lot less players, and there's so many differences.
Yeah, you weren't as good of a fantasy player then, right?
By any stretch.
So would it surprise you to hear that you own not only the lowest, but also the second lowest in our Dynasty League? Okay.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you're.
But let me tell me what year those were.
2021, you had 54-point game. Okay. And in 2020, you had a 58-point game.
Ooh, so not even last year when I was throwing games to get higher draft picks. Damn.
No,
okay. All right, that's what I thought it was going to be. Shoot. Okay, all right. We'll move on from that. All right, so we're on to the that sucks. So we're on to the main league, and all I got to say is, guys, what a ride it's been. This is a fun league. I absolutely am enjoying it. Here's the one thing. We only have 6 out of the 14 people with winning records. So kind of like last year, a little top heavy. Let's see if we can get it straightened out a little bit. Also, earlier in the season, I asked you guys if I believe that overall scores were up and we're putting up higher totals as a league for the season. I think even more that is true. Do you guys think at all you're coming my way at all and seeing bigger scores?
Okay, so I didn't bring it up because I typically only do commish corrections when you're wrong. But I did look it up when you brought it up last time. You had asked me to take a look. It was after week 2. You thought that the league was scoring on average higher than the previous years. Last year, on average, the average score was 130 points. After week 2, the average score was 135.
Okay.
So up a tick, but not a lot. Now I haven't looked at it since, so it may be even higher by now. But
Okay.
yeah, up a tick.
Up a tick. I thought it'd be more. So thank you for looking that up.
I
Now,
thought it would be less just because of the dilution, right? When you have
More
two more
people.
teams, you go
I know
from
the same amount of players are out there scoring the same amount of points. They're just distributed differently, but it still counts to the same total.
Well, no, that's not true. So it's not the same amount of players because there's 2 extra teams, and we start 11 players per team. So that's 22 extra starters that we now have, which means that everybody has at least 1 or 2 worse starters in their team, guys that normally would be on a bench or on a waiver wire that are now starting on their teams.
That's for sure. That's for
Okay,
sure.
I'll give you that one. Yep.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right. You're
Now,
right. Okay.
the thing is that in years past, we would always have guys blow up on our bench, and now maybe we're getting to take advantage of some of those blow up games in our starting lineups. But it'll be interesting to see at the end of the year how it all kind of pans out.
No, that's solid reasoning. I'll give you that. Okay, so just a little fun thing. If the playoffs started today, Dre and Ben would have the 1 and 2 bye weeks, Dre at the top. Matt and Ryan playing at 4 and 5. Alex and Sean at 3 and 6. So if the playoffs started today, that's who'd be in.
All right. Well,
3 and 6. Oh, you're talking about the seed. Gotcha.
Seed.
Okay.
Yep.
yeah. The seeds.
Seeding.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Me and Dre, 1 and 2. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going,
Hey,
Dre.
Okay, hold on, Ben. You've looked at points, right?
No, I haven't. I know
Okay,
I'm not
we'll leave it
scoring.
for another time.
I'm not scoring as many points as everybody. I get it, but I'm still getting the wins. Not this week. This week I lost to Sean.
Alex 871 for the season. The lowest is like low 600, so he has like 260 points more than the lowest scoring guy. So that's like a game and a half more points.
The fact that
I'm up in that area too, but not quite up there. So yeah, there's some teams that are really putting up some points, and some other teams that are pretty far behind.
Well, the fact that the top 2 seeds haven't put up as many points is it should actually be really encouraging to everybody else, because that means that the other guys that are currently in line for the playoffs, they could move into a bye week very easily over the next coming weeks. It also means that guys like me and a couple others that are just now starting to get healthy, we're starting to get some of our players back, that we can make a push for it. You know, You mentioned that there's only 6 people that have a winning record, but almost everybody, with the exception of 3 guys, is within a game of the playoffs right now, right? So
I love numbers. You can spin them any way you want. I love it. You're right. Yep.
All right. Well, that was our Round the League recap. All right, guys, we're going to move it on to our high score of the week this week. Back to back, brother. I mean, Jesus criminy. Back to back high scores of the week. 194.42 this week. Top performers, DJ Moore, holy moly, 52 points. Adam Thielen, hooked on a Thielen, 30.7. Even with the return of the man Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua still got you 20.1. You know, that, and we are all kind of curious. We talked about that all last week, and you know, not that you were gonna bench him, but you know, there might have been a question mark how he was going to perform, and he performed well. And I think my only question for you this week, Matt, is this a championship team? Do you think this is the team that's going to take you there, and you're going to take it this year? I was curious. I mean, with the way Tua's playing, McCaffrey, I mean, you're getting major production from those two, and you know, is this the team?
Well, hey, thanks, Ben. Those are lots of nice words. I appreciate them. But hey, so just remember, my actual high score of the season was 3 weeks ago when Alex was over 200. So I've had this is my lowest score in 3 weeks, even though only 2 made high score. So that's cool. That's what I said earlier. I go, what a ride, man! How fun. Championship team. I don't know, man. A lot of things can happen, dude. Injuries, bye weeks fall wrong. I mean, simple little things like O-lineman getting hurt can ruin a whole season. So I like it. I think I got a lot of guys who are putting up big points, and alternating weeks, which is what you need when you got boom and bust kind of guys. You need, if they all hit the same week and then don't hit for 3 weeks, you're screwed. So mine are hitting on the right cylinders right now. Puka Nacua was the guy who I traded for. Just like I said, I knew he wasn't going to be the guy who was the guy before I traded for him, but I was hoping for 10 targets a week. He got a touchdown look. Man, I'm so stoked with this team right now. It's fun to have.
You must feel some sort of indication because at the beginning of the year when we graded your team, the biggest knock on it that I said was that you collected a bunch of wide receivers that were sort of a reclamation project, so to speak.
Yep.
And these were guys that for one reason or another, other people in the league didn't, have much interest in this year. And a lot of those guys are really showing out. I mean, Adam Thielen, he looks like vintage Adam Thielen, right? You got, you've got a couple of other guys that look really good. DJ Moore might be having his best season. I think he's 5 touchdowns and 500 yards over the first 5 games. That's incredible. He's never done anything like that before.
That's like one season in Carolina for him.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I think in Carolina, didn't he have like 3 straight years with 4 touchdowns exactly?
I don't know.
That was his number, is 4 touchdowns a year, and he's already busted that in the first 5 weeks. So it seems like your reclamation project is definitely paying off for you. I think the one area that you might be probably sweating right now is that, and I know trading Sanders looks like the right move right now because Sanders sucked last week and Nacua looks good, but your running backs are looking pretty thin now. You have Herbert that just got hurt and is going to be out for a while.
Yeah, I disagree.
Well, talk to us about that.
Jerome Ford's the locked in starter there. I mean, I was worried about Kareem Hunt. You guys talked me out of being worried about Kareem Hunt. So I'm going to go with what you guys talked me into a couple weeks ago of how great Jerome Ford is going to be the rest of the way. So locked in starter. McCaffrey, locked in starter. Khalil Herbert, locked in starter, injured. So I picked up Deontay Foreman. I follow a couple Bears beat writers, or not. I heard them on a podcast. They say it's always been known that if Herbert goes down, even though Foreman has been inactive, he's the guy who's going to step into that role. He's the exact replacement. The reason he was inactive is because he doesn't play special teams. So I think I have 3 locked in starters. And in this league, that's one more than you need. So I feel that I'm set up better than most years in the running back department.
Yeah, I mean, you got McCaffrey as that anchor, and I've been doing zero running back for a couple of years now, and that's always my goal is to get one anchor running back, and then kind of fill in the blanks every week. So yeah, I think you're set up. I think you really are the team to beat right now. A few weeks ago, we thought it might be Alex because he had
Stop that shit.
No, he had the 2 high score weeks. Now you've had 2 high score weeks. And really, what you've done the last 3 weeks in a row, and the players that you have, and how it's set up moving forward, it's starting to look like maybe it's a year that ends in 9. Looks like you might be.
Well, you'll know if I change my team name to some musical band or an album cover, those are the years I win. So it's always been my championship is always a band name. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah,
like I said, there's a. I hate that I lost Jameson Williams this week, although I don't think he's the guy I hoped he was. Just sucks that I made that kind of mistake and I lost a guy. I held a guy for a year and a half. I never got to play him. And I lost him to a mistake. And that's stupid. Stupid.
Yeah,
but
that's brutal.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but you also potentially get Deontay Johnson back off of IR soon. Yep. And then with Quentin Johnston, the big Q, as people call him, or Cuge. I think I've heard people call him
Cuge.
Cuge.
Yeah, Cuge. I hate that.
Yeah.
No.
Are you? I was curious about him. I mean, do you plan on pulling him up out of the practice squad at some point, or are you planning on? Just keeping him there?
I want to. No, as soon as
where would you put it? Where would you put him in though? Because I mean, I was looking at your team: Nacua, Thielen, Moore, Lockett. Seems like
bye-week guy.
Bye-week guy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on the high score of the week, and not next week. I'm gonna be here. This is gonna be my spot.
Well, you'll be here every week, brother.
That's true. All right. Well, that makes sense. All right, guys. We're here with our low score of the week. Bobby Hab. What's up, dude? Welcome in, man.
Guys? What's up, guys?
You had you broke 100, so I mean it wasn't like it was too bad. But 101.72 points. You got 0.02 from Sanders, 0 from Mooney, 3 from Taysom Hill, which I'm curious why he's on your team, and Then Derrick Henry, 9.2 points, which isn't horrible for a running back, but I guess with Derrick Henry's numbers, normally you would expect more from him. There was a conversation yesterday, Bobby, on the text thread with everybody that we kind of wanted to talk to you about. You had mentioned that you have the waiver priority, and you think you're not going to waste it on Butterfingers Tony or any Arizona running back with a pukey face. And clearly that was some gamesmanship on your part. I'm not really sure why you chose to game us with the number one waiver priority, but you went out and picked up DeMarcado, right? That was who you got.
I did.
Well, let me piggyback real quick. Let me ask this first question. So, Bobby, you did everything Ben said was correct. How do you feel about burning your number one waiver priority? You held on to it for 5 weeks to pick up the backup running back in Arizona. How do you feel about that?
Not great. Not great. It was definitely not a good week. It does feel good to have at least 100 points having a low score, but no, it was not a good week. That Taysom Hill pickup was a last-minute scramble. I really just did not plan for bye weeks at the draft. I had all the week 5 bye weeks. I had Keenan Allen, Evans, Herbert, and my linebacker Devin White all on byes.
Could Bob not hear my question?
Plan for it. No, I'm just like zooming right over that. I've got a bunch of notes here ready to go.
Yeah. Bobby, I asked you a question, man. What do you think about it?
He's like a politician. He doesn't care.
No, dude, like that's what I told him yesterday. Bobby, shut down everything you think you're going to talk about because we're going to ask the questions. Bobby, you picked up the backup running back from Arizona. You burnt your waiver priority. How does that make you feel?
I said not great. That was my first sentence. Not great. Next question.
Well, you say you didn't. You say you didn't plan for the bye weeks, but I mean, your team is literally stacking bolts. Which, of course, the reason your team name is that is because you have all the guys on the same bye week. It seems like that was your plan.
Yeah. No, my plan all along was to lose week 5 and to be able to come on the pod. So I gave this up just so I could show up. I'm just itching. I want to be on. I want to be a part of it. I've got too much FOMO to not. It's why I keep submitting videos and nobody else is. I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah, I took one for the team just so I could show up and talk to you guys.
Was trading Sanders part of that plan too?
Thank you.
Well,
or trading for Sanders.
You figure that Mike Williams went down 3 days later, 4 days later. I did not plan for that. Obviously, the day after Mike Williams went down, I would go back and switch that back in a heartbeat. At the point where I thought I had Puka just sitting there. I was going to keep playing Zay. I probably should have been playing Puka at that point. No, for sure. Looking back, I'd like to have that one back now. But
so, hey, Bobby, you mentioned a moment ago that you've been the only one submitting videos, or you've been submitting a lot more than the other degenerates, and that's something we definitely appreciate. We've been asking everybody to send stuff to us, and we're glad that you've stayed involved. Some of your videos are better than others. But you got this new segment that we're going to be doing starting this week, and it's Bobby's Creative Outlet. And I know you made a video for us, and we got a chance to see it already. We're going to show it to everybody in just a moment. But my question for you is this, because it seems like you put a lot of time and effort into creating this video. Did you put so much time and effort into the video that you didn't spend enough time on your fantasy team this week?
I will say I watched some of the night game. I did not watch pretty much a single game all day. I was pretty focused on trying to put something together. Once we came up with the idea what we were going to do, I did focus on it, much to the chagrin of the rest of my family. Yeah.
All right. Well, we talked about it. Let's show it to them right here.
All right, guys, you asked for it. Here's a little of what you have to look forward to in a Bobby segment.
Beloved characters.
Booby who?
Look at the rest of his team.
Hello, friends.
I must break you.
Exotic locations.
So we are officially in Arizona. Hello from the Grand Canyon.
What's up, degenerates? I'm live from the Boudreaux.
Innovative music. ordinary pod.
I've got a new complaint.
On the ordinary pod. And groundbreaking cinematography. I hope you have a great weekend. I think that was a good one to take. I'd like to thank the Academy for giving me this opportunity and for giving the fans what they really want. I will try not to let you down.
All right. Well, Bob, I love how you are working on those the music. I love the
Yeah,
theme song you're working on, dude. It's looking good. I can't wait to see you playing the drums for it, though.
Keep
Gotta get your
working
stuff
on
on the
that.
kit.
We would like to get that dialed in for sure. We'd like to
Hey,
get that
speaking
dialed
of
in.
those characters in that video, I think that that pool toy, the frog, is it? I think that's the same guy that made fun of me for drafting Brock Purdy. Does he want to retract that, or
I do, because I have him in a super flex league with Matt, our IDP league, and I've got this guy that's been coming after him, trying to trade me left and right now for him. So he's done really good. He looks like a phenom right now. So you guys are definitely having a fun season. I'm excited for you guys. I'm definitely jealous, thinking that this was the year Chargers and the Niners might actually meet in the Super Bowl, which would be so fun. It's not looking like that on our side. You guys are definitely on your way, so I'm tipping my hat to you guys.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, Bob. So I came up with the idea for your creative outlet for this week. So I think we're going to alternate every week. Somebody's going to give you a new guidance to do. So this week, what I'd like to see is 60 seconds of your impersonations of guys you try to trade with in the league. Guys who give you oh, this is why this guy is so good and you should have him. Or, oh, this guy's going to be great in a year. Give us the impersonation of you hearing other people's bullshit towards you of why you should be trading away your guys.
Okay, so I'm doing the impersonation of them, not me.
Yep.
Yes,
of them.
course. Yeah. You're
In
impersonating
the negotiation.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're
I
beyond?
want to see what you think of us.
interesting.
Up to the task.
Yep.
Okay, all right, interesting. Let's
I got him off his
figure that
mark.
out.
I like it.
You asked for us to give you some guidance. You said you didn't like freestyling it, so this
Yep.
is your opportunity to go with Matt's suggestion and see if you can come up with some creative. I'm hoping to get the character of the frog trying to negotiate.
Yours is going to be a wascally wabbit, probably.
Okay. All right, that works.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, thanks for being here, by the way, Bob. You had your running back situation. You picked up McCardo, but also you got Jeff Wilson coming off the IR this week. Any thoughts of if he does come out and he's ready to play this week? Any thoughts of bringing him up instead of playing the backup in Arizona?
I probably wouldn't do that this first week. Mostert's held it down pretty good. I know A-Chain is out, so maybe he'll come in right away and have some play. I'm not exactly sure. They haven't actually pulled him up yet. He's done a limited practice today, so he hasn't really fully shown up, and they have to fully activate him for that to happen. I don't believe that's happened yet, so I think I'm going to ride the hand with DeMarcado. I'm probably even sitting Sanders for that. Looks like Chubb has actually gotten a little more play recently with them coming from behind and Chubb being more of the pass down back. So we'll see.
You also have Justice Hill you could put in there.
Justice Hill has actually played pretty good. That's been kind of a neat thing to watch. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right.
I was curious if you guys had done the "Can you squeeze it" segment yet.
Oh, you'll have to watch the pod to find out.
Well,
Did
you got something for us?
Did you have something to point out, or what? Are you doing it on the side to compete with us or something?
No, you had asked for bets, so I was curious if you wanted to tell me if you had done it already by the time we're having this segment. If you wanted to tell me which one you guys did, and I'd maybe say, yeah, no, Nate's going to beat Matt on that, or I did actually write down who I would pick for each of those. in case that was at all interesting.
Well, Bob, we actually kind of switched the segment up this week, so we kind of set you up here a little bit. Not on purpose, but there's not really any bets to make on this one.
Yeah. I'll tell you what,
Sorry.
Bob, why don't you give us one running back, one quarterback, and one pass catcher? It could be a wide receiver or a tight end that you think is going to be the tops this week. Real quick. One of each.
Real quick.
Okay, so I did Stafford would be the layup, and Dak against the Chargers after last week would be the one a little farther down the list. On the receiver, CeeDee Lamb again against the Chargers. I feel like those two are so bitter from last week's demolishing that they might step up and have a big game. And then running back Kamara versus Houston, I'm looking at.
So Kamara, CeeDee Lamb, and who was your quarterback?
Dak, I think.
I said
Dak?
Stafford first, but that would be the layup because I think he was listed 5th or 6th.
So pick one. Pick one.
Moving down the list. You know, I did have a little something. Last week when Nate was going to switch it up, Nate was going to switch it up from Cup.
Hey, I like that sticker. I like
What is the binder?
I like that sticker on the binder.
I'm looking at the rules and regulations and the bylaws of the pod, and I don't see that as a
we opened it up to a can of worms. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
He's going to have a shirt before any of us, too.
No.
Have a shirt.
Bobby, show us your tattoo. Show us your tattoo of the pod.
You can change your pick. If you say the guy's going to be injured, okay, then it's going to be the other guy. I checked the bylaws. It's allowed.
All right. Well, it was a good first 2 minutes of your interview.
All right, but well, dude, Bobby, thank you so much for being here, man. Appreciate you. Low score of the week. Hopefully, you'll be not here again, and we won't see you again for a while, except for on your videos. See you on the videos.
I got really close a couple weeks ago, 200 and something points, and still can't even get high score.
Remember, we just gotta hit end with him. He never goes away. Remember, we just gotta end. Hit end.
Love you, Bob.
Love you, Bob.
Shut it down. Cut.
No, seriously, cut him.
What's up, degenerates? It's your boy StevBot 1.725 billion coming to you with another early DFS look on Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. We didn't look so good with our lineups last week, so we're going to slow it down with a nice little cash game lineup, trying to beat 50% of the field. We're going to start it off with my man, the bold and the beautiful Big B-Rock Purdy. You know he's going to get it done with our main man, the #1 running back in the NFL, Mr. Run Christian McSee. Next, pricing came out after the A-Train. A-Chain got hurt, so we're going to take some value with the most dirt, going up against the 31-ranked Carolina Pasty. Next up, hey, Mr. DJ, give me some more. Not Mr. DJ Sean the Sink Man. Give me more DJ Moore, my goodness. Against the 31 first-ranked Minnesota Minnie Mouse Pasty. We're going to finish it up with some anything but dusted chalky value with KJLT and Target Machine. I'm hooked on a feeling. Da-ba-da-da. And finally, we're taking a stab at Coach Belichick revenge game against little boys Joshy McD and handsome Jimmy G. Good luck, degenerates. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about our rivalry segment real quick. It's going to be real short because we still don't have a video from Alex and Adam. And we're efforting that hopefully soon because our next rivalry week is this week. Rivalry week.
Rivalries.
Are you picking up Nate's lisp on the W thing? Like
I think I am.
I think that actually slipped out.
This is Steve and Joe this week. Steve and Joe, and hopefully Adam and Alex will get their shit together and get us their video before Steve and Joe, because I know Steve and Joe are going to be very prompt and be on time with this video.
I mean, those are the two guys in this league that do that shit for a living. Like, come on, guys! Like, you're letting us down big time. Do that shit.
That's why they don't. They're going to charge us for any submissions they send in.
All right. Well, rivalry week's here, guys. This week, Joe and Steve. So it's a big one, guys. Let's see who comes out on top and is going to have a prepared statement for us on next week's pod.
You guys have any thoughts as to which team you hope loses? I think it'd be kind of funny to hear Steve read something prepared by Joe. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That just sounds like it would be hilarious to me. So
I think we'd get more
Yeah.
I think we'd get more characters from Steve than we would from Joe. Maybe some Shakespearean experience
Maybe
or
a couple
something.
little
You know what I mean?
shimmies, a couple little shakes. Yeah, we might get something. Yeah. Yep.
That'll be fun. That'll be
yeah, I'm
fun.
looking forward to it.
All right, let's move it on to one of our new favorite segments. It probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. And this week's game is Thursday Night Football, Broncos at Chiefs. And it'd be pretty. I don't know if it's gonna happen. It probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. The Broncos are gonna win. Is that work, Nate? Is that how you did last? That's how you did last week. That's how you did last week, right?
Was I right or was I right?
Yeah, you might have been.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean he might have been? You don't remember?
No, he did. He was
Okay.
right.
It was
No,
their first
honestly,
win in a year. Yeah.
yeah, the first one of the year. I was gonna cheap out that way, but honestly, I think my pick this week probably won't happen. It'd be really fucking cool if it did. Is Pacheco is gonna go for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns this week.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, he's gonna tear those Broncos up, dude. I think they're set for that this week. So that's mine. Who's next? Who's gonna go next?
Go ahead, Matt.
All right. So I think all season long, 2 years in the making at least, there's been a lot of us who have been hoping and dreaming that Kadarius Toney will be the guy that we all think he can be. I've had him in Dynasty this whole time. I've had him in main league. Nate's had him in main league. Everybody's had him in main league. Everybody drops him, picks him up, burned waiver wires, everything. I think this is the week he finally goes fucking crazy for him. 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I mean, that's big for him. That would be big for
Huge
any.
for him. Like, it should be 300 yards and 5 touchdowns from the skills we think he has, but for him, 102 would be amazing.
And you probably made the right week to make that prediction because I just dropped him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be right in line with everything else that I've done stupid this year. Like I've been having the worst luck. Last week I benched what's his name, and he scored 36 on my bench. I had Jerome Ford at one point. I had even the guy that was the hot DeMarcado. I just dropped him on Saturday. I mean, it's been a season long of me dropping guys and then them going off. So that's a very prescient.
Well, it probably won't happen. It'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. We'll see if it does it.
Yeah. Listen, my prediction for it probably won't happen, but it'd be pretty fucking cool if it did. Is this game will end in a tie?
I don't know how cool that is, but
that would be fucking amazing. This game, these two teams in a tie. Never even thought about that. That'd be fucking hilarious,
dude. Honestly, like the Chiefs could put up 70. They could pull a Miami in this game and just light it up against the Broncos.
All right, let's give a little. Let's dig in just a tiny bit because of this game. Are we worried about Kelsey playing? Should we be playing Noah Gray in his place?
He is questionable. Kelsey is questionable. Of course, you're going to know before the game starts of who to play, of course. But no, I think Kelsey's going to suit up. I think he'll get out there. Now, whether he has a great game or not is remains to be seen. But here's the thing:
if he starts, you play him. Period.
Of course, yes,
of course,
absolutely,
right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But these division games always get a little unpredictable, especially when they happen on Thursday night. The Chiefs haven't really looked all that sharp yet this year. In fact, I think Mahomes had his worst game of the season last week. And you know what? As much as I hate to admit it, the quarterback on the other side, Russell Wilson, as cheeseball as he is, he's actually looked pretty good this year. The offense is starting to click a little bit. They've had a couple of interesting moments where they looked dynamic out there on the field. Really, it's just their defense that really blows. Might be one of the worst defenses in the league, but I would not be surprised. I know I predicted a tie, but I would not be surprised if this ends up with a final fourth quarter field goal to win the game.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, that could totally happen. I got one more question, just because it's on this team, and it just blows my mind. We haven't talked about it one time. The Sean Payton shit he's saying in the media. You guys know what I'm talking about. Nate, you know what I'm talking about. He's talked shit about the last coaching staff. I've lost respect for him.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about him this year? A, the way he's handling that team, and B, the lowball shit that he said.
I've lost not only respect for him, but I think he kind of falls into the same umbrella as like Bill Belichick. like maybe we're giving too much credit to these coaches that win a shit ton of games because they have a good quarterback.
Yep.
I mean, what the fuck has Sean Payton ever done without Drew Brees? What has Bill Belichick ever done without Tom Brady?
Bill Belichick has his 2 worst losses of his career 2 weeks in a row.
In fairness,
It's
they
crazy.
can only do what they have with the weapons I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't fault them for being good with those
saying
people.
the other side of it. He's saying they're taking credit for the better players when they're not better
Listen,
coaches.
Kyle Shanahan
Yes,
took Jimmy
yeah.
Garoppolo to the Super Bowl. So I mean, good coaches can win with bad quarterbacks or mediocre quarterbacks. And I'm not saying that Kyle Shanahan is better than Belichick. Of course, he doesn't have the same resume. What I'm saying is 2 legendary coaches that, in my mind, were 2 of the best coaches of all time. And part of the reason we thought that about them is kind of the similar thing. When Brady got hurt that one year and the Patriots still won 10 games with Matt Castle and they went to the playoffs, we thought, God, Belichick can do it with anybody.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened when Sean Payton got suspended that year and the Saints sucked, right?
Yeah,
Even
they
with
were
Drew Brees, they
horrible.
sucked. And then
Yeah.
Sean Payton comes back the next year and they're fucking awesome again, right? So we thought, God, he's a really good coach. They both got a lot of credit for those 2 seasons. And now a lot of that shine is coming off, both of them. And I don't know. I think a lot of times these coaches outstay their welcome and probably should have retired earlier on when they were still legends, and we'd be thinking of them differently.
You know, it gives a little bit. I understand Tom Brady's desire now to go to Tampa Bay and prove he can do it on his own a little more. I didn't necessarily get it. I knew he still had the chops. I knew he could do it. I didn't know why he wanted to. But it was always said that it was a system there. And maybe Brady was the product of the system. So now I get it why he had to go prove it he could do it somewhere else. I think it's kind of unraveling a little bit, seeing that, maybe it was Tom and not Bill as much.
I mean, it was both. I think it was a combined effort. I mean, you have one of the best all-time ever quarterbacks to play the game, and you also have a coach who, nobody can nobody can take away what he's done. I mean, his coaching, Bill
Belichick has only had a winning record with Tom Brady, right?
No, he had one with Matt Castle. He had one,
Okay.
No, but
Okay.
I'm not saying
I give the
it's-
Matt Castle year, but I mean, his coaching stops before and his time after Brady, he hasn't had a winning season, right? I think.
He also hasn't had a good quarterback. He hasn't had anybody worth a shit. You know what I mean? Since he's lost Brady. I mean, you got to give him. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not defending Belichick.
It's just a fun conversation because it's
like
Nate said. It's looking different than it was a couple of years ago with these great quarterbacks and coaches. We saw it a little different a few years ago, and it's interesting.
I agree.
There's
Sean
also-
Payton. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say there's also something to be said, and I kind of alluded to it a moment ago, but there's something to be said for the coaches. The game gets out ahead of them, right? The things happen so quickly. There's new developments, there's new analysis, new techniques, and a lot of these older coaches, they have difficulty keeping up, and that was sort of the knock on Belichick for a while, even when Brady was there, was that he was having trouble keeping up with the way that the game was going. And so, I think there's something to be said for these older coaches just don't have the same. They're just like players. They're not in their prime anymore, right?
Yep.
And then we can't expect them to be the same coach that they were before.
Yeah, good analysis.
Yeah, that's true. And I was gonna say with the Peyton thing, like I'm not really as caught up with you on the low ball stuff he was saying in the media. He hasn't been, with the team that he has, he hasn't been doing anything special. I mean, I think the resurgence of Russell Wilson has been more the story this year than, and I don't think it has anything to do with Peyton. I think Russell just,
Russell Wilson was pouting last year because he had a bad coach.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that Matt's alluding to is the statement that he made that this is a good team in Denver and that they might have been the worst coach team of all time last year, or that it was the worst coaching job he's ever seen last year. A direct strike to one of his.
You never take shots at other coaches. Like nobody does that. That's cheap and lowball, man.
And then Ben, we'll have you put this up on the screen. I shared it with the thread, but in case they didn't see it, it's funny that he made that direct shot to the other coach, Nathaniel Hackett, because in their first 5 games now, Denver has now lost to their former head coach, Josh McDaniels.
I love this.
They've also lost to their former defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio. They also lost to their former head coach, Vic Fangio, who's now the defensive coordinator in Miami. They also lost to their former ball boy, Mike McDaniel. And to their former head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. So all of those people have outcoached Sean Payton now.
I love that tweet, dude. Make sure you put that up, Ben. Post that. It's
credit.
That's beautiful.
I just love that Kevin Smith made a movie about they made a movie where he plays Sean Payton. I think that's how we all see him now. More
Yeah.
that
That's
way.
hilarious.
Yeah, that meme
Hilarious.
came out a while ago. It was like the Sean Payton they thought they were getting. The
Yeah.
Sean Payton they actually got. It's Kevin Smith. Or,
Totally.
what is his name?
Fantastic.
Kevin James. Yeah.
Kevin
Fantastic.
James. Kevin James. Yeah, that's so
No.
funny. All right, guys, let's move it on to our lightning round. All right, last week's results. We'll talk about those first real quick. We basically, I'll break it down if you don't remember. Top 3 guys at the position. Nate and Matt are trying to squeeze in another player to break into that top 3, and we'll see how they did last week. QBs, Nate went with Love, Matt went with Lamar Jackson. Yeah, both outside the top 10, 30 and 21. Nate, you went running back Jacobs, who was close. He's at 6. He was close. Connor, Matt, you went. He was at 40, and he got injured, so you can't really fault you for that one as much. Matt, wide receivers, and Nate went first with Cup at 12 and Waddle for Matt at 21. Neither of them made the top 10. And then Ertz and Ferguson, both out of the top 10 as well. You guys aren't doing very good at this year.
No.
Nate's only had one.
I did good the
Last
first
week.
2 weeks. Yeah.
The first 2 weeks you did pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we switch it up. I think we do something a little different. We do something where we are going to pick. It's going to be kind of a draft kind of situation where we draft the top 3 quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receiver tight end combo, and see who. And then we're going to tally them up every week and see who had the highest fantasy points throughout the week. Does that make sense?
A 1 week fantasy matchup, 3 teams, mono.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Are we
So
going
we're
to keep
gonna
score all
live
season?
every week.
Yeah, we're going to keep score all season, and we're going to, by the end of the season, we're going to know who is the top fantasy master of this podcast. All right, well, let's try this out. We'll see how it goes, and we're gonna try that here right now. And I'm gonna go quarterback first. I'm gonna pick first. Might surprise you guys a little bit because I'm gonna pick a little bit down the list. But I'm gonna trust Kirk Cousins this week against Chicago, even without Justin Jefferson. I think Chicago is suspect at the passing game. And Kirk Cousins still has great weapons with Addison and KJ Osborne. And I think Madison's going to get in on the passing game this week because they need him. So that's my pick. I'm going Kirk Cousins as my QB this week.
That doesn't surprise me at all. And I know you said you went down the list because he's not very high in projections this week, but he is the number 2 scoring quarterback on the year. So
he is.
He's got the second most points. So that's a good pick, I think. I'm going to go with a quarterback that I also think is going to probably be in a bit of a shootout. It's going to be in a primetime game. It's going to be tomorrow night, which by the time this podcast airs may have already happened. I'm going with Pat Mahomes against Denver's defense.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Damn.
Yeah, Denver suspect. Yeah, Matt, who you got?
All right. Well, I'm not going to not go that far down the list, but I'm going to set up my stack for my later pick, and I'm going to take Matt Stafford.
Ooh,
right.
I'm going to snipe you.
You actually can't, Nate.
Okay.
So
That's why I did it. That's why I announced it that way, because I looked to make sure nobody could snipe me.
Okay. That's smart.
Matt's peeling back the onion right now. He's peeling back the onion a little bit. All right, so there you go. Those are our 3 choices at quarterback. Let's move it on to running back, and Nate, will let you pick first at running back this week.
Yeah, so the biggest injury of the week at the running back position was Devon Achane, and I think that's going to open up a big opportunity for another running back in that same offense. They're playing a bit against a pretty bad defense. They're playing against Carolina. I'm going to go with Raheem Mostert playing against Carolina as my running back.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is solid. I think I'm going to go next, and I believe that Dallas needs to make a statement on Monday night on national TV, and I think the best way they can do that is to feed Tony Pollard like 30 times. So that's my pick. I'm going to take Tony Pollard as my running back.
All right, Tony Pollard is your running back. I think because of how Dallas got beat up last week and showed that they can be ran on, I'm going to go with Austin Eckler as my running back this week, coming off the injury and the bye. He's ready to go. He's raring. I know he said he's only 99%, but he's going to be the guy this week, and they need a lot of volume from him because they lost Mike Williams, and he's going to make up even more. So I'm going with Austin Eckler as my running back this week.
Ben, I would like you to cut this clip and post it to prove that we're not homers because none of us pick CMC. All right? So just post this as proof that we're fair and
Hey, look, CMC's playing Cleveland this week, and Cleveland's got a good run defense. So I mean, I think we were all smart not going that direction.
Yeah.
And all right, let's move it on to either wide receiver, tight end combo. You can choose one or the other. Matt, you're going to start it off this week, and we kind of know who you're going with. So
give me my little Cooper Kupp.
Oh, why don't you go with Nakua?
Because Cooper Kupp's the number one.
Outscored by Puka Nakua.
They ran 41 routes for Kupp and 40 routes for Puka. Puka did get the TD look, but everything else is really equal, which is really awesome because if that's how it's going to keep going, that's great. Great for both of them.
Yeah. Nate, you want to go next?
No, you're up.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm up. Sorry. Nobody would know that, but I'm up. All right, so I'm gonna go with. I think you got to keep riding him until he bucks you. So I know this is our first time doing this, but I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill. I'm gonna take Tyreek Hill against Carolina. He's projected 19.6 points, and I think he's gonna surpass that greatly. So I'm going Reek.
Okay. So I didn't even realize that I was doing this until just a moment ago. After I had already made my first two picks, I recognized that they were both on Alex's fantasy team, and I'm playing against Alex in the main league this year. So you know what? I might as well keep the trend going. I'm just going to go ahead and hedge my bets all the way. I'm either going to win this thing or I'm going to beat Alex, one or the other. And I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs against New York, and that's going to be a total Alex stack this week.
There you go.
Can somebody read back the teams? I'm kidding. I know nobody was ready.
I can read back mine.
Hey, next week we'll be ready to read ours back.
All right, who are you taking, Matt?
That's it.
Wide receiver.
I already did it. Cooper Kupp.
Oh, Kupp. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's tell everybody our teams. I got Mahomes, I got Mostert, and I got Diggs.
I got Kupp. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
Kupp, Stafford, and Pollard.
I got Cousins, Eckler, and Reek. The Reek.
All right.
Freak.
All right.
Hey, I like mine.
I bet you do.
I think we need to think about maybe the prize that somebody's going to win at the end of this year for having those fantasy points. There's no loopholes in this one, guys. Somebody's going to have more points than the other two guys. There's got to be a prize for the final episode. Let's put our heads together and come up with something.
Yeah. Yep.
I think maybe not a belt, but what about a jersey? Like a jersey that we can wear that says like all-time greatest fantasy host.
How about like a do-rag, something like that. Maybe a bandana.
I'm not wearing a do-rag.
Like a bandana, dude. Like something like that. Like
that's funny.
I was thinking about a tattoo. Hilarious. Like you guys have to both tattoo my name on you. Yeah.
I got a way to spell your name. That'd be fine.
Yeah, I played Nathan in the lightning round, and all I wanted was a stupid tattoo.
Yeah. I like it. All right, we're starting out 0-0-0. Let's see where it goes. We're going to keep this till the end of the season. We will come up with a bet for next week, guys. Let's figure that out.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a good time. No Fu Manchus. Just joking. All right. Well, hey guys, dude, that was it. That was week 5. Oh, recapping week 5 for week 6. This week is week 6. And guys, this was so much fun. You got major injuries that we talked about, and hopefully you guys aren't saddled with any of those guys. I know, Justin, you're hurting. You're hurting this week, man, and hopefully we helped you make some decisions. But we're gonna wrap it up right here. You guys got final thoughts for us? Anything? Nathan, Matt, go for it.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the weekend. We'll be here. We'll be watching the games. Ben, sorry we missed you last week. You're always welcome any Sunday to come over to the football room that we have here, and it's going to be a great weekend of football.
Nice.
Yeah, man, I'm just excited to keep it rolling. I mean, God forbid, what if I can get a 4th high score in a row, or 4 super high scores? We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
I was gonna say
It's all fun, man.
you're tagging
I've
on to
never-
an extra.
I've never
Well,
been.
no,
high
I'm
score.
saying my highest scores. Yeah, I told you already. Whatever. We'll see. We'll see what I can do. Is that the champagne of beers you're drinking?
This is the old 9%er, buddy. 9.5s.
All right, guys. Stay tuned for next week. That's a wrap on the Ordinary Fantasy Pod. See you next week.